I'm James Kirk.
I'm Michi Hoyer,
And you're watching SimNews.tv.
The WCSLeague Megane series on Rfactor 2 is proudly sponsored by Raceview.nl. Raceview.nl, where you and your league can get live timing updates every 2 seconds with stint analysis and an auto-generated track map, whilst also enjoying an overlay for your live broadcasts. Get your 30-day subscription on up to 3 servers for only $3.99. WCS League, where racing is entertainment, uses Raceview.nl for all their live timing. Why don't you check it out too?
Hello everybody and welcome to WCS Megane series here for season 5. And you're watching us live wherever you are, if you're watching us live or on replay on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch and all of the gubbins. My name is Simon Smith and I welcome you to Brands Hatch for round 5 of 6 of this short season where we're dipping our toes into the Meganes on Rfactor 2. We're just in the heat of qualifying at the moment, and I'll quickly run through the order as it stands at the moment. Chris Shepherd is on provisional pole with a 1:25.064, just ahead of Yuri Castor, Wesley Stefano, Simon Marshall, Miguel Musino, Peter Jones and Gerrit de Vries, making his debut this season. 7th place, 2.6 seconds off the pace. We've got a fair few people out on track at the moment, but probably the best one to take a look at would be Roy Schroten in position 9, as he is 2nd overall in the championship for RTS Racing. If you are on YouTube, do say hello in the chat and who you're supporting. I'll keep a beady eye on it when there's quiet spells, of which there are very few in the WCS Megane season and series itself. But Roy Schroten here, just around the back of the circuit. We're running the full GP circuit and Roy was running the full length of the track and a little bit of dirt. Same there as well, putting 2 wheels out before he turned in. Very brave. Brave, maybe not wise. We'll see what the lap time says as he goes round. Yahoo moment there. Very Yahoo, out onto the sticks. Of course, all 4 circuits, all 4 tyres, sorry, don't always have to be on the track, but as long as 2 are within those white lines, it counts as a lap. Hug the line to the inside as you go round the straight into 4th place. That was a scrappy one there by Roy Schroten, but he'll take that for now. WCS Series is brought to you by Raceview.nl as one of our proud sponsors. So thank you very much for being part of the league and making these broadcasts happen. And as always, behind the scenes, as Jeffrey Fournier goes into 4th, just pipping Roy Schroten there on the lap times, is Alex Gunnar on cameras. He's recovering from an illness, so he's going to be scurrying around in the background, but he is the hamster that makes the cogs turn. Let's take a look at we've got Mark Fuller out on a lap at the moment in 14th down in the ST. He came off the back of some of his most strongest performances last time out. And this, of course, the double header of English tracks, as we was at Donington last Monday. And that saw Fuller do very well. Ooh, that was a bit late breaky there. Overshot the corner, missed the apex and ran out slightly wide on exit. Very similar to what Schroten was doing, but I think that one was slightly slower from Fuller. The ST driver, coming off the back of some of his strongest runs so far, will hopefully keep picking that pace up and bring himself a juicy haul of points. Only 17 people currently looking to be on the grid this evening, which does mean that the vast majority of people, if they just stay on the track and bring it home, will grab some points. And Fuller goes 9th, 1.7 off, just 100th off the, 200ths off Peter Jones and 500ths off of Miguel Musino, so it's very close, as it always is here in WCS. Rodrigo Carvalho, I think, has binned his lap, as has Danny Robbins. Both have gone out and completed the start of their lap, but neither have set a time, so those two are going to be the back row at this rate. So drama for them. Hygo Poom just coming over the line in 12th position. Where is he going to pop into 7th? Ooh, only a 10th between Poom in 7th and Fuller in 10th. So lots of drama there for them. Craig Patterson too has gone out and started a lap but not finished it. So that's 3 drivers who have clearly made an error. Let's take a look at Niranjan Kumar, who is the sole person out there on a lap at the moment. 6 minutes left to go in the session, so plenty of time to be had. Let's see where he is up to at the moment. He is 4th in the championship, 2 points behind Wesley Stefano in the battle for 3rd. And with Roy Schroten also very much within their grasps. Point-wise, the battle for 2nd is on. Yuri Castor didn't think that he was actually going to be here this evening. So the fact that he is, if he stays true and on the circuit, he should, in theory be able to extend his points lead and either take the championship here, potentially, depending on what happens to Schroten, Kumar and Stefano, or it will go down to that final round. Those four well clear of Argo Tida, who is 5th with 52 points, and he's not here this evening either. Naranjan looking nice and tidy around this lap as he goes into Stirling, down the clearway straight, and then into the Clark curve, which I never quite get consistent. And wow, Kumar flying over the curve, a little bit of air. Yeah, hugs the line. And that hasn't registered. That's the third person that's not registered their time. Is that counting as a cut, I wonder, somewhere along the line? Ah! Thank you very much, Alex. Dingledell, the corner that sounds like it should really be in a JRPG, but beautifully named. Matthew Clip there just coming out of Druids. Swinging his way round. Matthew's been very unlucky in the last few rounds, particularly with his almighty smash in Donington, where he went spearing off on the fast section of the corner, the first sector 1, smashed into the barriers, done his own version of Stefan Sarazan Brazil 99, and continued on his way. So it should rename himself Matthew Smash, not Matthew Clip. But this looking nice and tidy, staying well within the white lines. It doesn't look necessarily the fastest out there. The car looks planted though, and particularly around these fast back section corners, you've really got to make sure that the car is as planted as possible when you're in the long races, because one mistake and you don't have a small accident at the back part of Brands Hatch, particularly when you're into Hawthorne and Westfield. Yeah, and Dingledale as well. Over the line goes Mr. Clip, and that pops him 6th. Actually, that was faster than it looked. Just ahead of Simon Marshall, who I think will be getting another nosebleed with a top 10 on the grid. Just got Caitlin Penny, I believe, left to go, and she's not actually left the pitch yet, so we'll have a little bit of a break, and I'll run you through the order before that gets going again. Currently, Chris Shepherd on pole position, 1/10 ahead of Yuri Kastorp. Wesley Stefano then 3rd, ahead of Jeffrey Fournier, but 4 tenths between them. Roy Schroten in 5th place, then that's all within a second. Clip then leads like Division 2, dare I say, just ahead of Simon Marshall. Hygo Poon, who has really struggled to get to grips with this car, as we've heard in numerous interviews with him after races. Miguel Musino, I think, will be quite pleased with that, because he's going to be in the top 10 regardless of what Caitlin Penny does. Peter Jones just behind with Mark Fuller. Gerrit de Vries, I think, will be very happy with 12th, because as the admin, you don't, as anyone that runs a league knows, you don't get as much time out on the track to actually enjoy the fruits of your labour compared to other people. But he's within a second of the rest. What we need for him is for Abdul Qadir to join up so that we can have a true battle of the back markers. That would be good fun. Then Kumar, Robbins, Carvalho and Patterson all failing to set a lap time, either through cutting or through binning it potentially, because Craig Patterson didn't actually start his second lap. He done an out lap and that was it. Caitlin Penny just getting for her warm up now. Looking into the chat, let's just see, lots of support for Danny Robbins. So they'll be looking for him to be burning up from the back of the grid after his lap was disallowed. Support for Matthew Clip as well there. And let's see how this gets on. Final quali laps, drifting out Tokyo style onto the start-finish bend. It's not straight. And let's see how we do. Paddock Hill bend is looking very scary, but well held there. The skid marks won't just be on the track for that turn. Round Druids we go, then off and into Green Hill Bend which always pinches slightly more than you think because you want to let the car run out wide. Into Surtees itself, another corner that seems to, because it's like a double apex there, you always kind of have to pinch yourself and then go again. Pilgrim's Drop. Pretty much sounds like it should really be at Thorpe Park. And a Pirate's Ride, Hawthorne Bend. The first of 3 serious, tight but fast right-handers. Westfield's the second one. That's normally the one that I bugger up personally. Then into Dingledale. Used to be a chicane, this one. Back in the day, showing my age. But that's looking nice and within the white lines, and much better compared to the warm-up lap here for Caitlin Penny. Out from the yeehaw that is Stirling's Bend, and into the Clark Curve after Clearways itself. Nice and out wide, floor to the throttle, take the line of least resistance across the line, and where does that pop Penny? Up into 6th. Nicely done. 3rd row for Caitlin, and in the battle of the siblings, 7/10 ahead of Peter. So yet more one-upmanship at the dinner table. So Chris Shepherd then, your pole sitter ahead of Yuri Kastorp. I think with only just 1/10 between them, this is going to be an absolutely blinding race to behold. And we've got plenty of people out of position towards the back, such as Kumar and Robbins and Patterson too, who will all be desperate to make them all up the order.
Remember to go to a quick break.
So we move forward to a quick 5-minute warm-up for everyone just to get used to race fuel and so on and so forth. Don't forget that tonight at midnight, the livery competition closes. Mike Pittman, our admin extraordinaire as well, messaged me about an hour ago and said there are 2 votes between the top 2 liveries. So make sure you get your vote in. Follow the links in the description box and on the Facebook WCS League page so that you can make sure that your vote is counted. Because just like any other general election, Brexit, every vote counts, says Mr. Abstinence. I don't abstain from much. Not in the bedroom anyway, but in the ballot box, I do not soil my papers. So, whilst this all gets sorted out and I try and dig myself out of a political hole, as opposed to sliding myself into another one, let's take a quick break. A break. Well, we can bake in the break as well. And let's see what exciting things are coming up on Rfactor itself.
The WCS League Megane series on Rfactor 2 is proudly sponsored by Raceview.nl. Raceview.nl, where you and your league can get live timing updates every 2 seconds with stint analysis and an auto-generated track map, whilst also enjoying an overlay for your live broadcasts. Get your 30-day subscription on up to 3 servers for only $3.99. WCS League, where racing is entertainment, uses Raceview.nl for all their live timing. Why don't you check it out too?
Hokely dokely. Well, that's enough of the beautiful, though they are, adverts. Let's take a look at the stand-ins as we go into the penultimate evening of the Season 5. And as you can see on the drivers, Yuri Kastorp has a commanding lead, although Roy Schroten has been nipping at his heels like a chihuahua in second position. More out of consistency than outright pace from Kastorp. Stefano's into third ahead of Kumar. A huge gulf back to Tida, Fournier, Thompson, Fuller and Clip. And of those, Fournier, Fuller and Clip will definitely be looking to ascend the order here as they've turned up. Chris Shepherd has done superbly well when he has actually been on the race itself and is in 10, and he's looking to really dive up. I reckon he'll be aiming for a top 5 by the end of this evening in the championship. You can see a few people further down the list, Poom and Patterson, and I think we'll be delighted for some points there. Taking a look then at the team standings, and it's a much closer affair up front. So RTS Racing Team Schroten flowing up. Apparently that is old standings, but never mind. They're right now. That's all right. We can do let's do the time warp again. Yes. All the way down. So we've got RTS on 197, just ahead of RSR on 187. So great stuff there. CM Tech with their consistency into third. Sadly, though, What the F Racing, I think I'll be saying What the F with that score, -5. Not a grand deal for them. And they've only done that through penalties. So they've turned up, smashed into someone, and then buggered back off again. So that's how not to do sim racing, people. So just a quick recap on the drivers there. Also to note there is the battle between Jones and Messino. They're next to each other on the grid. They're often next to each other in the races now as well. I'll be quite interested to see what the battle for 14th is on the stand-ins themselves. So, just moving forward to the race itself. Not sure if anyone is in the chat has any wise wisdom comments or suggestions that they'd like to put in. Some support in there for Epic Racing from David there. Cupcake and Holland Racing shouting out for Danny Robbins, and there's some good stuff. Wopke. First to finish. To finish first you must finish. Before that, you need to get your dad to turn up, Wopke. He was pouring some good stuff at the back of the grid. Channeling Backmarker Brigade's love. 21 laps here, though. So, mandatory pit stop if you're new to the series. You do have to change tyres. And that's all there is to it. You can refuel as well. And there you can see, as they line up on the formation to go, look at the way how this grid is formed. That is the picture that you can use for all of your desktop screensavers as they lead themselves around. So, just to quickly run through the grid of 16, we've lost someone during all of that as well. Not quite sure who we did lose. Oh, Matthew Clip. Where's Matthew Clip gone? We're going to restart. Matthew Clip got stuck. So we're just having that sorted itself out. Wopke Hoekstra just saying that his dad is knackered and gone to bed. But only with the best spelling mistake in chat, saying in bad. I'm going to say he's not bad, he's within 107%, therefore he's legal. And I use that generally with most people with my age when it comes to the age of consent. Now, let's take a look at what happens with the camera. It's all done by itself, Takis Games. The cameras are all set up as per the track itself, and then Alex Skinner, running behind the scenes, is busy pointing it in all the right and wrong directions. Usually the right ones, to be fair. Hashtag swingman. What we've got, I don't know if that's what's happening. I don't see what you see, which is why it's always good fun if you want to come and play with the broadcast booth. We're always looking for people who want to do cameras, and that's a very much undersold job in sim racing, and it's something that we definitely love and need and requires. Just regridding back up again. Dank memes in the chat, I spy. And let's go round again. It's like the time walk. Let's do the time warp again. Chris Shepherd then on pole position. First 21 lap feature race with mandatory pit stop and tyre change. Yuri Kastorp second place, but very much looking forward to trying to wrap up his championship if he can today. Wesley Stefano then starts off row 2 in third, ahead of Jeffrey Fournier in fourth position. Fournier fourth, alliteration for the win. Roy Schroten is in fifth position, ahead of Caitlin Penny with her best qualifying to date in sixth. Matthew Clipp, seventh position. I think we'll be delighted for that restart because he is in a position to make hay whilst the sun shines. Ahead of Simon Marshall, and that's his highest grid slot as well in a qualifying session, defying the odds of a fellow Simon who loves to be coming from behind. Margot Poom is in ninth position, ahead of Miguel Musino, who rounds out the top 10, just ahead of teammate Peter Jones. So I need to stick in my vote before midnight for that team livery. I don't know if that's even fight for the lead or not, but that does make me go 12th place is Mark Fuller for ST, just ahead of Gerrit de Vries making his debut. And as the admin, don't smash into anyone, Gerrit. Boom, sorry. Niranjan Kumar is in 14th position. The bad jokes keep coming. Danny Robbins 15th then, who clearly is winning driver of the day if it's in the chat room to decide. Rodrigo Carvalho in 16th place. He has been the donkey of the season in terms of just plodding around and making sure that he picks up all of the points that he can, and you can't give out enough love for that. Craig Patterson, 17th place. He very much was confused winner of the race last time out in Donington, where he felt conflicted that he'd won the reverse grid sprint race, but was equally bummed that his teammate didn't quite do as well there for the Adonis. So, just getting on the back of the field. Remember, this is a staggered look grid. Someone's honking their horn. I'm horny. And the problem, well, not the problem, but the unique feature of this type of grid formation is that someone like Stefano Fournier can steam through the middle. Will they do it? We're off and away in racing, and Kastorp gets a much better start than Shepherd, but Fournier's done the lot of them round the outside, looking absolutely superb. Can he go around the outside at Paddock Bend? That's going to be very juicy. No, he's slotted back in again so that Yuri Kastorp retakes the lead. Oh, that's Stefano off. Oh, it's absolute carnage. Clip backwards as well, going the wrong way, but that was Stefano was the first one to go. Clip clopped, quite frankly. Robbins and Fuller also in trouble at the top of Paddock Bend too. But it's Kastorp that leads the way from Chris Shepherd, Fournier, Schroten, Penny, Jones up to 6th, Marshall, de Vries, then Musino, Patterson, 17th to 10th. You'll have that, thank you. Carvalho, Kumar, Clip, Robbins, Poon, Stefano and Fuller. They have all got back going again, so we've not lost anyone officially. But I think, Mark Fuller's now just pulling off, I think, to retire because he can't turn left. A bit like, was it White Men Can't Jump? Fuller can't turn left? One of the two. Kastorp then leads the way, don't go to NASCAR Mark. For Shepherd then, right on his tail though, and that was lucky for those two because Fournier had by far the better jump off the line than the two of them. And Fuller has decided to get back to the pits again, so he's going. And they had to basically wrestle their cars around Paddock Hill Bend to ensure that they stay in the lead. And I think this will run and run and run. Look at it, Kastorp there. He's got both of them behind in the yellow cars. Those two are teammates, and I think that's probably why Shepherd and Fournier had a good bit of respect for each other, ensuring they didn't hit each other. Quite what that happened with Stefano, though, is another matter. Gerrit de Vries off down at Paddock Hill Bend, rejoins in 11th position, losing 3 places as a result. Stefano into the pits. This will be a disaster for his championship positions. Fuller will be in as well. Robbins off down at Paddock Hill Bend as well. rejoins in 15th place. Everyone feeling like they want to go skinny dipping. I know it's been hot in the British summer, but you don't all have to be in the beach. Castor leading the way then on lap 2 of 21, ahead of Shepherd, Fournier. Schroten is closing in on the back now, whilst these three kind of get themselves into a pattern. Penny right behind. I can hear someone having an almighty skid. It was Pooh down in 13th. Didn't see what happened, but yeah, he's left more than a skidded underwear on the circuit there. Round go the lead trio, about to become a lead quartet. Schroten clearly hanging the Schrotens out the window, making sure that he joins onto the back. Penny and Jones, 5th and 6th, actually side by side just behind this. And Peter Jones trying to go round the outside. For goodness sake, don't take out your sibling. No, nice and good side by side between the two. Just peering back up front. Shepherd has a look at Castor, but nothing doing there. Side by side for Penny and Jones for 5th and 6th through Paddock Hill Bend, and Penny keeps it for the time being, but Jones clearly fired up and fancying I want to win that battle. And here comes a dive your bomberoo. Oh, love nudge between the two. Some countries that's legal, but out of Sector 1, Penny holds it for the time being. Ooh, run 2 wheels on the grass though on the braking, and that has allowed Peter Jones to sliver up the inside and yoink 5th position away again. And that was just by wrongly placing the car. You go to the outside on quite a lot of these corners at Brands to make sure that you have the optimum line. And Penny round the outside at Hawthorne. Oh, Jones there skidding around trying to make sure that he didn't hit Caitlin as they go through. No love lost between these two. I think there'll be some kind of who's going to get the Just Eat order after the race of whoever wins out and loses for this one, because they're both absolutely hooligan it round the corners. Through 30s they go up onto clearways, having a lovely clean scrap. So great to see. Up front, the lead quartet has slightly spread themselves out a little bit. 6/10 the gap between all of them actually. 6/10 from Castor to Shepherd, 6/10 to Shepherd to Fournier, 6/10 again to Schroten in 4. Then Jones and Penny lost 3 seconds that lap pretty much, trying to battle each other off the road, but they've still got 2 seconds over Marshall, Musino, Patterson and Kumar. Kumar in 10th position is busy closing up onto the back of that trio. Fuller and Stefano have rejoined from pit stop. Stefano's just ahead actually of the leading lot, so he won't get lapped. No, he'll be okay actually. Don't mind me getting my times wrong. Boom off the track again, but yeah. And Carvalho actually into the pit, so clearly he's made contact with a barrier somewhere. Battle for 8th and 9th looking the juiciest at the moment though. Miguel Musino losing touch from Simon Marshall as they make their way round, and Musino, this is his best run so far, and actually now focusing on getting back past Simon Marshall again. The battle for 7, 8, Patterson 9, Kumar 10. Schroten there just having a little bit of a squiggle off track as well, and here they come round into the last couple of corners. Then this battle for 7, 8, 9 and 10. Kind of holding station, very difficult to pass around Brands. You kind of, oh, who's that in trouble? That is Carvalho coming out the pits, but what that has done is spat a few cars out wide. Rusino and Patterson, they're both taking wider lines, the slower line nearly in the gravel, but kept themselves out of it. Poom in the pits, and here is 3rd and 4th place. Schroten versus Fournier having a grand old battle. Fournier has lost a good 2.5 seconds, so clearly a mistake there somewhere from Jeffrey, and Schroten is right on the back taking a little peer out. It's always scary to do it down into Hawthorne Bend. What we're going to do, you don't really do an overtake at Westfield. This is all about setting it up. But look, Fournier taking all of the road going out very wide. Schroten going for a dab of the brakes so that he can get a higher speed exit out of the corner, and it just yo-yos you back and forth. Horses for courses, lines for blinds. I don't know where I'm going with that. And there is a problem for Craig Patterson off at the top of the circuit. Drama there for him. Robbins in the pits as well. Oh, taking out. Put his wheel on the grass, lost the rear end. We've seen this quite a lot. We saw it in qualifying actually. People stepping out and putting 2 wheels on the grass. Patterson was one of those drivers that didn't get his quali lap in. And yeah, that car is crabbing like it needs to be in a special SpongeBob SquarePants. Back to the pits for him. But it's worthwhile keeping going. Only 2 drivers are going to not score points. At the minute, that's Fuller and Carvalho. But if you're grabbing around, you can still get in, get some repairs, and get back out and get some vital points for your championship challenge. And that's exactly what Craig Patterson has done. So Stefano and Poon will probably get through. But as to where Robbins, Fuller and Carvalho will be for those final point-paying position, we do not know. 1 second then covers Castorp and Shepherd up the front of the field. Shepherd not dropping away, but he's not able to harry and pull back in again like what he did earlier on. Remember, Castorp was saying, Patterson has retired. So that's the end of his run. Castorp was saying in the earlier races, wasn't he, in the interviews, that he was all about making sure that he kept his tyres cool for the first few laps because they heat up very quickly on the later laps in these Meganes. So now that he's starting to maybe stretch his legs a little bit, this could be where he starts to pull over his advantage. Castorp, Shepherd, Fournier and Schroten still nose to tail though. And it's interesting, Schroten, now that he's on the back of Fournier's not been able to shake him back off again. So that is a drama there for him that I think Fournier could well do without. And Schroten, of course, eyeing up essentially Castorp for an outside shot at the title if Castorp does decide to bin it somewhere along the line, which could well happen. Everything will happen in racing, it usually does. Peter Jones still ahead of Caitlin Penny, but actually the two are very much nose to tail themselves, just half a second between them. Marshall 7, Miguel Musino in 8. Again breaking on the grass. Happens so often here. Kumar into 9, Clip now 10th after all of that lap 1 turn 1 smash. Gerrit de Vries in 11th. I think we'll be pleased with that. They've just swapped positions actually, Clip and de Vries. And that's kind of the last of the lot. Then there's a big gap back to Stefano, Poon, Robbins, Fuller and Carvalho. Now the people who have pitted and have had some repairs done, that's their mandatory pit stop and tyre change. Don't French it, Smithy. Frenching's for off stream. Those pit stops count very much as your mandatory pit stop. So at least they've got it out the way. Yes, it might have been at an ill-opportune moment, but they can try and hang it on home and hope that the tyres last for as long as possible, especially for those that pitted at the end of lap 1. So the field very spread out. A couple of juicy battles here and there. But at the moment it is Fournier versus Schroten for second and third. Third and fourth. Teething, Smithy. Jones versus Penny for 5 and 6. And actually Niranjan Kumar now to the back of Miguel Musino for 8th and 9th. And that's probably the place where we're most likely to see an overtake at the moment. Although Poon has caught Wesley Stefano for 12th and 13th. I think Stefano, he's lost. He's nowhere. Stefano's car is very unbalanced, clearly suffering from damage still. Hygo Poon all over the back of him. The thing with this though is that they are about 10 seconds away from being lapped. So the issue here is that if they hold each other up and they're both walking wounded, they're not going to be running at full pace. And lapped traffic is not really something that Castorp and Shepherd will want to deal with in their battle for the lead. Admittedly, that's now gone to 2 seconds. As Kumar takes Musino for 8th and 9th position down at Surtees. Great move there. Miguel Musino trying to have a little look back into the final turn. It's very difficult to do it around the outside unless you can do the switcheroo and get back on the inside again for the next corner. Round across the start-finish line they go. Musino picking up a tiny bit of draft, now going to the outside. It's very difficult to have the traction there, and that actually didn't work out nearly as bad as what I thought that was going to do for Miguel. Takes a little look into Druids. That is always a wedge that will close, and Kumar now free. Got 5 seconds to make up to Simon Marshall, who's running his own lonely race in 7th place, and very much having a couple of laps of peace, I think, whilst Caitlin Penny and Peter Jones battle another 5 seconds further up. So again, just lots of pairs. Poom got past Stefano whilst all that was going on as well, in a battle for 12th and 13th. And again, that was another couple of seconds lost there for Stefano, so he will be lapped quite shortly by Castorp and Shepherd, just depending on when the pit stops kick in. We're coming up to nearly half distance. Someone else has just been off the track. This circuit is absolutely critical, as we've got Roy Schroten, our first man in. Oh, was that a barrier hit? If it wasn't, it was very close. As he came in, that won't help the Schrotes stay in a straight line. Yeah, it was. A little tap on the rear. Well, let's hope that he's not trying to make any little Schrotens anytime soon, because I think those Schrotes will be a wee bit sore. Clip and De Vries also in their battle for 10th and 11th. So just before half distance, I don't know if people are feeling the pain or not, or if they're wanting to repair a tiny bit of damage at the same time, so that they can just kind of clear out and have a good enough run on the second set of tyres. We will soon find out. Jones and Penny still half a second between them. They've just ran very close to each other. They've also got the lapped Danny Robbins stalking them behind as well in 14th position. He's able to keep up with them, but of course you're in that awkward position where you might be faster than the cars ahead, as Gerrit de Vries also just exits the pits just ahead of Hygo Poom in the battle for 11th. So that will do nicely. Shepherd now the next guy in. That's a much cleaner entry. No one wants a sloppy entry. As Fournier takes over second position for the time being. And Caitlin Penny pops into the pits as well. So she's looking at trying to undercut Peter Jones then if she can. Whereas Jones is going to go for the up and over. Doesn't look like she's pitted in her box properly either. Niranjan Kumar in too. Ooh, just parking in right in front. That is a squiggly entry there for Niranjan Kumar as well. Never mind. It's a shame. Sometimes it's awkward when the pit boxes are right next to each other, because you don't get to do that casual, I'll just drive down all the pit boxes and get myself perfectly in line. Schroten there jumps a lot of them. Moves up to 6th position. Penny rejoins 7. And Chris Shepherd has DNF'd. Yeah, so I wonder if there was an issue there for Chris Shepherd, if that's a disconnection or something like that. Yeah, Chris Shepherd left the race. Vehicle stored in the garage. That is huge for Shepherd as Castorp comes into the pits now with a 8-second lead over Geoffrey Fournier. Real issues there then for Chris Shepherd. Missed several of the races because he, according to chat, was sleeping. Peter Jones in as well, as is Fournier. So this exact half point, everyone deciding that now is the time. Simon Marshall in as well. If I was him, I'd have been cheeky and gone through and said that I'd have led a lap. But that's exactly what Miguel Musino's just done. So Miguel Musino, first time he has led a lap in WCS Season 5. And he will be loving that at the moment. As out comes Yuri Castorp in what will be second place. Fournier's just exiting the final Clark curve now. And actually that's closer than I thought that would be between the two. And I think Schroten's going to leapfrog Fournier. Yes, he is. Schroten up to second. The undercut working a treat there. Oh, in the gravel he goes though. Don't do that. You done the good stuff earlier. Fournier then out behind Schroten. So that is a key leapfrog in the pit stop strategy. The undercut working a treat. Same works for Caitlin Penny to undercut Peter Jones. So that, and they're not by small margins. These are by several seconds. So clearly that is really, really key, that the undercut working a beauty. Marshall then in 7th place. Kumar in 8th, ahead of Matthew Klipp. And Gerrit de Vries in 10th, who is just a second ahead of Hygo Poom, still running in 11th, as the chat did ask. Someone did ask, I think it was Josh earlier on, has Hygo rolled yet? Nope, but he has been in the barriers, so Poom always goes boom at some point. Stefano then into 12th, Robbins 13th, and Carvalho, oh dear, someone save the donkey. What's going on? What's going on? It's very, very tight there for Rodrigo to get back onto the track, and he does so. So, round he went on the exit of Dingle Dell. Very difficult to recover and not basically have an absolute major smash. And he's just spinning. Oh, he's just lost it on Clark Corner as well. That was a nasty snap by Rodrigo Carvalho. And yet, straight into the pits, is he? No, he was just trying to do a loop round recover. But yeah, if he can keep going, he will still score a point for being in 15th. So it's worthwhile, Rodrigo. Keep going. The league's sole Brazilian driver, I believe. And, well, he's naked for all to see. Miguel Musino off the track as well in the lead. 17 seconds he's got over Yuri Kastorp. Of course, yet to pit, but he's just spent the last 3 corners off the track. So either his tyres have absolutely gone off the cliff in terms of tyre temperature and grip, or he's just having a bit of a vertigo moment seeing a number 1 next to his name. I'm not sure. Stays out. Keeps going. Miguel Musino hasn't pitted yet as far as I can see from his lap times. They're all in the 27s and 28s, so he's very consistent and fine there. Kastorp closing him down just under 2 seconds each lap, so he won't keep it when he pits. But that will do as a new fastest lap, a 1:25.093. His fastest lap of the race by over 3/10 of a second. Schroten then 6 seconds further back in 3rd place. Fournier though, closing him back down. These two are like magnets. It doesn't matter which one's ahead of the other. They just seem to come back together again. Caitlin 2.5 seconds clear of Peter Jones. Marshall then a further few seconds back in 7th, but he's got Niranjan Kumar for company. Wow, who's having dinner with the Kumars? I think it'll be Simon Marshall's front bumper very shortly, as Kumar looks for one way or another to get round. Both running out wide, as you do kind of tend to do around that Graham Hill corner. Different lines around. That corner down the dip. Into the back section we go. Both cars looking good. Miguel Musino finally into the pits then. He'll be very pleased with himself. He just needs to keep himself out of mischief and he will have a very solid top 10 finish, I think. Although he may need to do an overtake or two to get him back to the position where he ideally would like to be. Kastorp then retaking the lead on lap 15 of 21, ahead of Schroten, Fournier, Penny, Jones. Those two both having superb races. Marshall versus Kumar, and Miguel Musino is going to be behind them as he was before the pit stops. Marshall leaves the door open, but Kumar wasn't able to capitalise as they speed through Paddock Hill Bend up the hill towards Druids. Is Kumar going to take a little look? No, he is not. Musino is rejoined behind these in 8th, just ahead of Matthew Klipp. So that's going to be the next battle we'll take a look at. And look, Kumar straight through. Nicely done. Up to 6th position. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful move there by Kumar. And I think Marshall was just like, you know what, leave me alone. I just want my 7th, please. So, looking further down, Mark Fuller has actually overtaken Danny Robin at some point there for the battle for 13th and 14th. Takis Games asking, what colour does Gerrit de Vries' car have? It's black with blue on. He's got Hygo Poon all over the back of him in the battle for 10th. We'll take a look at that in a second. And here it is. That is Gerrit de Vries, and he's running out wide, and Hygo Poon is looking to get himself bing bang a boom into 10th position, and he's done it. Nice opportunistic and capitalisation of the mistake there from Gerrit. Up into 10th goes Hygo. Remember, he pitted very, very, very early on in this race, lap 4. So he's got a long time to go on these tyres, but making them last. And we saw Musino was able to get to lap 13 quite happily with his tyres, so that can be done. And immediately they're pulling away from de Vries. But there's a long way to go, and there's plenty of more accidents that could happen. We know where we are and what league we're in. Fournier onto the back of Schroten. That's the closest they've been since the pit stops, by the looks of it. And Schroten, to me, looks like he's stiffened up a little bit in terms of his inputs. He's looking a little bit twitchy, whereas Fournier's car looks much more a bit too fluid there. That, my friends, is what's called a drift. As he comes down clearways to the final corner. Isn't it nice to have a circuit that actually has corner names instead of numbers? I feel like this is something we need to bring back properly. Name corners, don't name them after sponsorship deals, Red Bull Ring. I don't know if people have noticed, there's a lot of things coming out around the Niki Lauda corner being named. If anyone looks at the history of the Red Bull Ring, A1 Ring, Österreich Ring, Red Bull actually bought the original Lauda corner and gave it a sponsorship name. So essentially they've just given a different corner its name back, and that's Fournier! Nearly in the Fournier wall! Oh! Come on, come on! That was a very drunk straight. And normally if you're being very drunk straight-wise, a couple of pints and you'll be in my bed. But now, Troublum's there, got it back go again, lost a good 2 seconds. Now back to Schroten, plenty of time to recover that, but me talking about how wooden some of Schroten's moves looks, that's kept him on the black stuff, whereas Fournier's much more fluid motion and using more of the circuit, clearly, maybe a bit faster, but there is a risk-reward problem going on here, and Fournier drifting that car around, doing what several other drivers have done already this race, in the wall. Here's Peter Jones in 5th position. Team leader this evening against Musino, his teammate, 5th position. Onto the back of Penny. Battle for 4th. Worthwhile pointing out as well that these two are only 15 seconds off the leader. Now maybe Kastorp is not pushing at 100% because he's got a good 7-second margin over Schroten and Fournier, but the fact that those two are within 15 seconds and we're coming towards the last few laps of this race, I think says a great deal around their general speed and consistency. So great to see there. Kumar now in 6th, pulled away from Marshall. Musino's got a couple of seconds over Clip with those new tyres. Poom is actually closing down Clip and dragging Gerrit de Vries along with him, so that could be a good little finale moment as well. With Stefano, Fuller, Robbins and Carvalho, the other runners and riders in this race. Fournier just made us another small mistake as well. He'd caught back up to Schroten and got himself within a second. Then ran wide again and dropped a couple of attempts. So, if you've got plenty of different eyes, Danny Robbins there just getting lapped by Kastorp as well, ending his pain a lap early, and Carvalho's off the circuit. He's just done exactly 15th position what Fournier done earlier, but was unable to scoop it back up again. So there's a difference of car control. Carvalho gets back going again. He will get Hard Trier award from me by the end of it, I think. And I thought I saw a change of position, but I was talking utter trash. Fournier. Sorry, Penny and Jones, the closest battle. 4 and 5, with 2 laps to spare. Penny came in 1 lap earlier than Jones, so Jones has a very tiny tyre life advantage. But they're kind of following just in the wheel tracks of each other, and maybe that might be the better way to just kind of bring it home and have a happy household. I often wonder when you've got people together as... Oh, let's just take a quick look. Okay, no, that was me getting all scared. They was lapping... Schroeter and Fournier was lapping Carvalho for the second time. Fournier caught him at Sterling's, and that did not help him. And actually that's given, I think, Schroeter enough of a gap to stay ahead. Penny running slightly deep at Druids, giving Jones a little snifter. I'm quite sure he doesn't want to stick his nose up her rear. That would be a family discussion that you wouldn't want to have at the table. I can make these poor jokes all day, but I won't. And then the last kind of little battle that's going on, Wesley Stefano somehow has wrestled his crab cake up to Gerrit de Vries as well, so that 11th and 12th battle I think will be resolved at the very end. Yuri Castor leading the way as Penny goes wide, and Jones is going to stick it 2 wheels on the grass up the inside. That's rubbing, that's racing, and that is, well, Leclerc-esque there, say, from Penny. So Jones stealing through up into 4th position, no quarters taken, and up to 4th goes Jones, and that's resolved itself. Penny there, a slight mistake under pressure. That's not helped her out whatsoever. Castorp on his last lap, just going around. Schroeter 8/10 clear. And it looks as though, yeah, Peter Jones has let Caitlin Penny back through again, so clearly feeling the wrath of the stewards before they were ever giving their wrath to begin with. Castorp then just making his way round the last couple of bends. And it's been another excellent masterclass, I think, from Yuri. Had some good stuff. Oh, don't do that. Kicking up the dust on the final curves. That would have been a turn up for the books if you'd have binned it at the last lap. I think Yuri is too much of a professional to be doing that. And yeah, had some good battles early on and needed to fight off Fournier and Shepherd. With Shepherd's demise and Fournier losing out in the pit stops to Schroeter, that kind of gifted back Castorp a nice advantage for him to win the race, letting Mark Fuller by to unlap himself. Very nice. And here he comes, enjoying the victory there, Yuri Castorp. Beautifully done. Half an hour of exemplary driving. 2nd position to Roy Schroeter. That will really help him out in the championship for sealing 2nd overall. Geoffrey Fournier on the podium with a great 3rd. And Peter Jones, very slow in 4th. He's gone over... Oh, what happened there? That was bizarre. Has there been a bit of contact right at the end between the two? I'm just trying to see. Oh, yeah, Penny slowed right down. And then Jones slowed right down, but kind of dribbled over the line just after Penny. So I don't know if there's been contact. One was trying to get back going than the other. My replay won't go far enough back, so I'm sure we'll find out about that afterwards. Anyway, rounding off the rest of the order, Ranjan Kumar got back up to 6th position, Marshall up to 7, Musino into 8, Clip grabs 9th place, Hygo Poom back in the top 10 after an eventful race himself. And actually shout outs to Clip and Poom both having almighty shunts. Stefano 11th. Gerrit de Vries there did lose out to Stefano on the last lap for 11th and 12th places. Mark Fuller still making his way round. He's going to be unlapped though after the gift from Castorp. And if that Penny Jones, I'm assuming there was a collision there, would have meant that someone would have lost a wheel, that would have worked out an extra position for Fuller, so it was worthwhile doing. 1 lap down in 14th was Danny Robbins, 2 laps down after what could only be described as an orienteering session for Rodrigo Carvalho, comes in 15th, but it's points, or point rather, for Rodrigo, so it was very worthwhile, and I always applaud someone that keeps going to the end. The retirements, Chris Shepherd, we think, disconnected in the pits or got stuck in there. 17th, and also out after a crash and retiring in the pits was Craig Patterson. So, that is that for the feature race itself. Some good battles, some high-speed crashing, lots of drama, and I think we've set ourselves up for a lovely reverse grid, because Hygo Poom will be starting from pole, and I think he'll be relishing that opportunity. And with Kumar in 6th place, if he can get some clean air up there and a good start, I think that could be one of the first times that Yuri Castorp may have some issues getting straight back up to the front again. So, everyone's just sorting themselves out. We've got a few minutes before we dive into that feature race. Before we go for a quick break, I just wanted to say that at midnight tonight, that is when the livery competition closes for WCS to vote your favourite league livery. So do so by following the links in the description to the Facebook page and to the site and fill in the form survey, and make sure that that is completed. Just 2 votes between the leading duo. Also worthwhile noting is that there's going to be some announcements that will be appearing over social media over the next couple of days around future events and leagues and so on and so forth. So get your beady eyes onto WCS League on Facebook, and I'm sure there's a Twitters as well. And stay tuned, obviously, in the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. I'm surprised at the level of dank memeness is actually quite low at the moment, but I expect that to change. So, if you want to get yourselves in on the action, keep your eyes peeled for that. We're just going to go for a very quick break, and I'll just make sure I fan my PC down because it sounds like it's going to explode. Apologies for that. And we'll be back after these short but rather funky messages.
The WCS League Megane series on Rfactor 2 is proudly sponsored by Raceview.nl. Raceview.nl, where you and your league can get live timing updates every 2 seconds with stint analysis and an auto-generated track map, whilst also enjoying an overlay for your live broadcasts. Get your 30-day subscription on up to 3 servers for only $3.99. WCS League, where racing is entertainment, uses Raceview.nl for all their live timing. Why don't you check it out too?
And here we are, welcome back to Brands Hatch here for the reverse gridaroo sprinty race. Oh yes. Top 10 on the grid get reversed. It's 11 laps. There are no mandatory pit stops, although I'm assuming if you've got a crashing, smashing, crabbing car, you'll end up wanting to. These races are fast, furious, and with plenty of fisticuffs involved. And let's face it, who doesn't enjoy a good fisting on a Monday evening? So, the grid riding itself up. 16 taking to it. We have lost just looking through, sorry, in my chat, Peter Jones was just confirming that he let Caitlin Penny back for position. I'd forgotten the whisper feature on Rfactor 2. Shows how au fait I'm not with the game. So 16 drivers are lined up, so only one will not score. There's a sad thought that one of these people will not be scoring a point. We have lost Craig Patterson. He has not been able to retake the grid. So Hygo Poom leads us round on reverse grid pole. What will he be able to do as his season has gone further and further down the pan as it's gone on and on? So this would be a great time to do a shot as well, to give it a shot in the arm and get him back on top. Matthew Clipp second. He's had some trying reverse grid races, so he'll be hoping for something good there. Miguel Mucino, third place. Really, by far his most impressive outing to date today. Simon Marshall, fourth place. He came of age last time out in Donington and is doing another fine result at the back end of the top 10 here. Niranjan Kumar in fifth place. I think he could be a dark horse here for the win if he's able to clear some people off the line before the main trio, I think will do. Peter Jones in sixth place then, just ahead of sibling rivalry Caitlin Penny in 7. Jeffrey Fournier in 8th place. He was lightning off the blocks in race 1. If he can report that in race 2, that will be great. Roy Schroten is in 9th place on the grid with Yuri Kastorp in 10th. Now Yuri has pretty much a nigh on 100% winning streak, and that includes reverse grid races, so don't count him out. Wesley Stefano is in 11th. Gerrit de Vries is in 12th. And it was going to be Mark Fuller in 13th, but he's just left the game. So disconnected, I believe, is Mark Fuller. So we're one down already. Danny Robbins will then be starting in 13th in his place. Rodrigo Carvalho will be 14th. Chris Shepherd is 15th on the grid. Everyone who finishes will be scoring. But Mark Fuller there for ST, I think, will be very upset that he is disconnected out of the game. And I wouldn't be surprised if that was Virgin Media. Hashtag other, well, asterisk other internet service providers are available. Because unlike most Virgins, mine's been up and down all day. Pulling themselves up onto the staggered unusual grid now. Is that me? No, Matthew Clipp slowly pulling forward. It didn't look like he'd quite got into his grid box quite perfectly there, Clipp, but pulled forward now. Here we go. All lights are on, we're off and away, and that is a stonking start there by Simon Marshall, who's going around the outside. Clearly that grid box is a good gripper, but Poom leads the way. Marshall's trying to go into second, but Clipp's leaning on him, and they've both gone off. Bourniier's off there with them too, but Clipp and Marshall down to the back of the field. Drama there. Poom leads the way from Miguel Mucino. Kumar up to third. That's exactly the start he wanted. Then it's Jones, Schroten, Kastorp. But Jones has got Schroten trying to go around the outside. Someone's round. That was Fournier there running out onto the inside of the circuit. He's dropped down some positions to 12th. So that's been horrible for him. Shepherd up to 13th, taking a few places at the back as well. But the key movers here, Kumar up to 3rd, Schroten to 5, Kastorp to 6th, Robbins to 8th as well. Great start there. Stefano up to 9, De Vries there into 10th. 2, so several movers and shakers And Simon Marshall, from that superb start, ran out wide by being leaned on by Clip. And sadly, that's dropped him from what was second to second last. Disaster for Marshall, but plenty of overtakes for him to do. No one detached from the back of the grid massively either, so everyone going well. But Hygo Poon making hay whilst the sun shines. This is exactly the shot in the arm his championship needed for the Poonster. Across the line he goes, over 1.5 seconds between him and Miguel Musino, who too had a decent start, and it is in second. But Kumar immediately onto the back. These two were having battles last time out as well. Peter Jones, though, in full place, going defensive against Schroten and Castorp. Has lost out to Caitlin Penny. Penny's got past Castorp somewhere along the line. Didn't see where that happened, but that is a good move if that was down by a pure overtake and not a mistake by Castorp alone. Then Robbins onto the back. Stefano is dropping De Vries, who's got Clip all over the back. Clip going for 10th place down at the end of Sector 1. De Vries gives him the room, but that's no good. And Penny's lost out a couple of places. She's gone off. And that's her down to 9th place. So that was a short-lived 6th place jaunt. Unfortunately, Chris Shepherd has got round Fournier for 12th and position off your screens as well. Clip has also passed De Vries for 10th. As who was that out wide a little bit? That was Peter Jones. He's gone defensive for 4th place there against Schroten, but he'd kicked up some dust earlier on. Take the Dingle Dell curb at your peril. If you take a tiny bit too much, it will spit you out. Kumar on Musino for 2nd and 3rd place. Kumar takes a little peekaboo. Nothing doing into Clark. Over the crest of the hill, round the corner. This playing beautifully into Poom's hands, although to be fair, Musino has not actually dropped very much in terms of time, only 2 tenths. Kumar's going to have a go down the inside at Paddock Hill. Inside at Paddock Hill Bend, beautifully judged there by Kumar, up into 2nd position, hangs Miguel out to dry, down to 3rd he goes, and Peter Jones now onto the back of his teammate. Now, Jones is the quicker of the two this evening, but I don't think there's team orders, and so they're going to have to try and orchestrate that one effectively. I don't think they're going to be able to, because Schroten and Castorp are all over the back of them. Robbins ahead of Stefano is just behind as well. Penny on the back of that, and they've dropped Clip and the rest behind. So this has become a 9-horse train as they work their way through, and Kumar has already put 6 tenths between himself and Miguel. Miguel runs out wide, as does Jones. Here comes Schroten for 4th and 5th place. That's going to be absolutely evil if he does it. He's had to back off and slot just in ahead of Yuri Castorp, and Castorp is going to try and take him on the inside into Surtees, on the exit of it rather, but there wasn't just enough gap to go. Schroten knows that Castorp is there, goes defensive, and this is the beauty of Megane Racing. You go from attacker to defender in one fell swoop, and you really have to be on your game. The problem for Schroten now is Danny Robbins is there, and he fancies a little run through, and Schroten makes the mistake, gets crossed up through Paddock Hill. Castorp is through, beautifully done there, up into 5th position, and that's a swap there. If Jones gets past Musino at the same time, they were too busy battling themselves. That allowed them to do the swapperoo around. That looked like a very clear-cut decisive move. I don't know if it was done or not, and that's Penny off into the barriers in the background, 9th position, out on the curb on the exit of that bend, and that didn't work out well at all. As Simon Marshall there overtook Jeffrey Fournier for 11th position as that was all going on too. So plenty of action at the back of the field, but whilst this train continues up the front, Castorp is off! Castorp is off! Is he going to keep it back up? No, he's across the track. Oh, there's Miguel smashing into each other, and they've recollected each other. This is exactly what Castorp did not want. Stefano's been caught out too and has immediately retired the car, I think in a fit of rage. Castorp has rejoined back in 11th position. Absolutely disastrous there, and that all started back at Hawthorne and kind of continued cascading itself down the next couple of corners. Peter Jones there off as well and has rejoined in 9th position, and a separate move that happened afterwards. Marshall and Fournier 7th and 8th position side by side as they cross the start finish straight. from 2nd to 14th to 7th and now to 8th for Simon Marshall. Clearly, if he's, I'd choose those numbers for bingo in the lottery. Maybe get himself a bonus ball. But currently down into 8th, got Peter Jones back onto the back of him now. Gerrit de Vries keeping a watching brief in 10th. Back up front though, Hygo Poom, 2.8 clear of Naranjan Kumar, and Kumar is only maintaining the gap. He is not closing it down, and this is pace from Hygo that we've not seen for a long time. Shepherd versus Robbins, 4th and 5th position. Shepherd going around the outside, down the hill. Nice decisive move there by Chris Shepherd, and Danny Robbins there I think was just slightly slow out of the previous corner, and that kind of gave it to him. Shepherd, they're running out wide. Did Robbins go wide there? Yes he did, and here comes Matthew Clipp. Clipp's going to do him into Hawthorne itself. Sorry, Dingledale. Robbins is going to try and have another go back for uncertainties. That's always a closing gap. It's such an inviting cambered corner that you think you can sling one through, and it never really works to your advantage unless you're properly side by side. And Robbins looks like he's sliding that car around a lot. Up into 6th place though, in what was 13th on the grid, so it's actually worked out very well overall, and I think he'll have another go at Clip later on. Fournier 7, Jones 8, Marshall 9, Breeze 10, Castorp 11th and 16 seconds off the back. Penny and Carvalho, the only two others racing, with Messino and Stefano out after that almighty smash up. So, pause for breath. What an absolutely crazy sprint race. We've had so many crazy sprint races this season. I've seen cleaner driving. I've seen dirtier as well though, so let's not all jump to the bandwagon of being offended. This isn't Twitter. Shepherd though onto the back of Roy Schroten now in the battle for 3rd and 4th. He's closed that down very quickly actually. Same as Clip versus Robbins in the battle for 5 and 6. That's already concertinaed itself back up again. But Shepherd, the faster one of the top 5, but he's 8 seconds off of Poom. He's got 2 cars between him, so that's not going to work. Kumar for the first time has taken a 10th off of Poom. So it's starting to reel himself back in again. There's been a change of position. No, there wasn't. Towards the back end of the top 10. That was just timings updating from myself. Apologies. Schroten and Shepherd. There's the tail. Half a second between them. Shepherd the faster of the two, but not quite in a position to make a move just yet. Clip up into 5th from the back of the grid. He'll be pleased with that. Robbins, Fournier, Marshall, Jones, de Vries and Castorp battle for 10th. Gerrit de Vries gives Castorp the space. Doesn't give him the move initially, and there's going to be... No, he's not able to stick it alongside and try and get the inside cut back at the next corner. So Castorp back up into 10th place, keeping pace with Poom despite having to overtake Gerrit there. And I'm sure Gerrit would love to have had a top 10 finish. Still 4 more laps to go after the one we are on though. 13 runners and riders remain. And still Shepherd stalks Schroten. Kumar's taken out another 3 tenths this lap on Poom. Still 2.3 seconds the gap, but he is faster and starting to reel him in. He might need to go a wee bit quicker if he's going to make something effective of it by the end of this race, but it's just piling on the pressure on Hygo. Hygo's had a topsy-turvy season. Started off very strong with some top 5 pace at the opening couple of rounds, and then fell away as he's got more uncomfortable with the car. But this just shows sometimes when you get a nice clear run at things, it all starts to come together for you. Further back down the field, Shepherd's not able to make an impression on Schroten. Danny Robbins keeping pace with Clip, as is Fournier on Robbins. Simon Marshall, though, has got Peter Jones all over the back of him in the battle for 8th and 9th. And they've got Castorp onto the back of the pair of them. I think Peter Jones... Ooh, was Jones there kicking up a lot of dust running on the exit of the end of Sector 1 down that short back straight. Or middle straight, I guess. And that is Marshall running out wide, and I think that might be a good incentive there for Peter Jones down this long back straight to kick up onto the back. Marshall puts his car slightly into the middle of the track, ensuring that he defends. Jones right up onto the bumper, practically pushing him around. Had to back off a little bit. That gives Yuri Kastorp even more of an advantage to push back in again. Here are the pair. We've already had one altercation with the other teammate of Peter Jones, Miguel Musino, earlier on this evening. Probably doesn't want to see the sight of that livery again. But that he must. Kastorp onto the back. And this is helpful because there is championship deciding implications for this one. With Schroten up in third, Schroten is going to gain enough points to basically keep the championship alive for the final round at Imola next Monday. And here we go. Fournier versus Robbins. Robbins out wide. Fournier takes 6th position. And that all came to a head at Paddock Bend. Nicely done there for Jeffrey. Up to 6th. He'll be feeling aggrieved, I think. Yet another race where he's been caught up in other people's problems. Kastorp was not able to get past Jones, even though he was practically side by side down at the front straight. Niranjan Kuma now 1.6 seconds off the back of Hygo Poom. He's reeling him in, but Poom is not succumbing to the pressure. And that's going to work it quite nicely to be basically within a second as we come to the penultimate lap and final lap, I think. So, grandstand finish. Schroten keeping Shepherd at bay, running practically identical times, half a second between them. And that's the kind of thing with Brands Hatch and racing in general. Sometimes you just get a little bit attached to the rear and then you follow them as opposed to like actually attack. Kastorp onto the back of Jones as well, again for 9th and 10th. Gerrit de Vries has got Caitlin Penny for company for 11th and 12th as well. So plenty of stuff to happen right on these last 2 laps that we are on. Poom 1.4 ahead then of Kumar. Another 2 tenths gone. Ranjan didn't go for dinner because he's eating into that gap. Schroten kind of got Shepherd even closer still, but it's always half a second. It just looks closer around certain parts of the circuit than others. And Shepherd from last on the grid to 4th, that is what I call a recovery drive. And you'd dearly love to have a podium if you could. And these points, after scoring nothing in the feature race, will do no harm for his championship challenge. Look at how much speed he carries into the first of these corners. So much more than Schroten. He had to kind of back out of it a little bit as they find their way down to Dingordale. Have we got problems? Yep, Jones and Kastorp off the circuit together. Well, he's had issues with both of them. Let's just see what happened. Practically nose to tail coming down the hill. Oh, Jones is left rear tyre connected and got stuck into Kastorp. They understeer off. That was because they started to brake for that corner whilst interlocked wheels, I think. So an awkward racing incident. Jones continues much better than Kastorp. Kastorp is limping it round, trying to get back going again. 12th out of 13 is ahead of Carvalho still, but yeah, awkward stuff there. And in fact, what's interesting is Hygo Poom is leading the race, Carvalho is last. It's almost a Verstappen-Gasly-esque moment here between the two teammates. Shepherd all over the back of Schroten for the last position. And we've got de Vries and Penny off. Oh dear, not fun there down at Druids. Didn't quite see what happened because we're on the very last few corners. And that was Penny there just tapping around Poom and de Vries, unfortunately, down at Druids, locking up her brakes. Someone's off the track as Poom goes through to lap. Oh, it's Carvalho off. It's all gone a little bit rallycross in this last couple of laps here. Not showing their finest hours as Kastorp comes into the pits. And that will help him out. But after a season of increasing woe and drama, Hygo Poom finally turns the leaf, and from reverse grid pole he scarpered away from the competition. And it is Hygo Poom, boom, wins the sprint race here at Brands Hatch. Thoroughly deserved, and a very likeable chap indeed. Niranjan Kumar, a great burn from the midfield to get himself up into second. And it's a 2-3 for Racing Team Shroton to get second and third, and that will do no harm at all to their championship lead, because in the teams championships they only had 10 points over RSR, and they are not scoring nearly as much this time around. Chris Shepherd comes home fourth. I think he'll be pleased with that, starting last. Then Matthew Clipp gets fifth. I think he'll be pleased with that too. Fournier sixth, less pleased perhaps. Danny Robbins 7th and 13th. Simon Marshall, I think a case of what could have been after the lightning start essentially became his nemesis. Penny came home in 9th position. Peter Jones got past Gerrit de Vries on the last lap there for 10th place, after Gerrit needing to recover from that collision with Penny. Castor classified 12th, 1 lap down ahead of Rodrigo Carvalho, who scores plenty of points there for 13th. And also a lap down himself. Lots of congratulations for Hygo in the chat. And lots of capital yeses going on as well. So clearly some relieved drivers. The two retirements from the same incident, unfortunately, Miguel Musino and Wesley Stefano. As we've come to expect, it's all been a bit cray-cray. And yeah, just reading through the chat there, several people quite happy with their performance, but also a fair few people, I think, wanting to pop in the protests themselves. So that will bring us quite nicely then. I believe the championship is just still open between Castorp and Shroton as we go to our final round in Imola next Monday at the same time. I'll be ordering a takeaway live on air probably. So come and join us, get your snacks and your booze together for some high-octane pixelated action. My name is Simon Smith. Cameras are done by Alex Skinner. Thank you so much to Raceview.nl for sponsoring the broadcast itself. Interviews, should there be any, will be up on a separate video later on this week. So stay tuned for that. And don't forget to get your liveries in by livery votes in by midnight tonight, and to stay tuned on social media because there's going to be some cheeky little announcements going on across the week. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
The WCS League Megane series on Rfactor 2 is proudly sponsored by Raceview.nl. Raceview.nl, where you and your league can get live timing updates every 2 seconds with stint analysis and an auto-generated track map, whilst also enjoying an overlay for your live broadcasts. Get your 30-day subscription on up to 3 servers for only $3.99. WCS League, where racing is entertainment, uses Raceview.nl for all their live timing. Why don't you check it out too?